Welcome to 6th grade language. This is for lessons 142 and 143. We have our pronouns that we're going to go over for the lesson 143. So we're going to do that first. Then we're going to look at our thank you note, and then I'm going to show you what you're going to be doing, okay? So we're going to sing this song, I know it's your favorite, to the tune of Jesus Loves Me. Yep, just a little bit more, okay? I, you, he, she, it, we, they, me, you, him, her, it, us, them, my, mine, yours, his, her, hers, it's ours, theirs. These are the pronouns. These are the pronouns. These are the pronouns. Let's sing them once again. I, you, he, she, it, we, they, me, you, him, her, it, us, them, my, mine, yours, his, her, hers, it's ours, theirs. These are the pronouns. These are the pronouns. These are the pronouns, and that is how they go. All right, and then we're going to say the singular, plural, and singular or plural indefinite pronouns, okay? Just down the list. Each, either, neither, one, everyone, everybody, no one, nobody, anyone, anybody, someone, somebody. Both, few, several, many, some, any, none, all, most. Let's try it one more time. Each, either, neither, one, everyone, everybody, no one, nobody, anyone, anybody, someone, somebody. Both, few, several, many, some, any, none, all, most. Very good. All right. I'm going to bring it back over here. I'm going to look at the thank you note that I have on the board. And so when you're writing a thank you note, you want to include a few different things with that. And so if you're giving thanks for a gift, tell why you like it and what you will do with it, okay? If you're giving thanks for someone's hospitality, tell about the things you enjoyed most during your visit and something about the trip home. If you are giving thanks for someone's help or kindness, tell something nice about what was done and how you were helped. Okay, always write a thank you note when you receive a gift, when you stay in someone's home, or when you have a meal in someone's house. And so you should write them quickly, promptly. Show your thoughtfulness and manners by writing your note right away. When you write a thank you note on regular stationery, write it just like a friendly letter and use a heading. Some people like to write thank you notes on special note cards that say thank you and perhaps have a verse in them. If you use one of these cards, you would not include an address in the heading, but don't forget to include the date. Always include a greeting, though, with dear and the person's name. Address the envelope in the following manner. Okay, so what we're going to do today is I had you think about someone that you wanted to write a thank you note to. Okay, so it could be a friend who gave you a gift. It could be one of your parents. It could be one of your siblings. Just someone that has done something for you, either given a gift, maybe someone who you went and spent the night at a friend's house. Maybe you want to write that to their mom for letting you come, or someone who helped you in some way. So I wrote a little thank you note, just it's not from me, but just an example, okay? Dear Dad, thank you for taking us to dinner last week. I really enjoy spending time with my family. I love you, your daughter, Callie, okay? So I just came up with a random name, just to write a note, but that would be a good start to a note. What she could have included, maybe that she got to eat her favorite food, maybe, I don't know. But that sort of thing, that's the idea. You can give a thank you note for just about anything. You can thank your parents You don't have to give a thank you note for dinner that they make every night, but if they make a special dinner that you had been asking for, then you could write them a thank you note. I know that when I traveled with National Hoops and with MTT Ministries, both of the mission teams that I've traveled with, in every home that we stay in, we write a thank you note to them. And so that was something that we always had with us, was a pack of empty thank you note cards. And so we'd write those and we would leave them in with the family that we stayed with, because they were kind enough to allow us to stay. We didn't have to get a hotel room or anything. And so for that, we were very grateful, and we wanted to show our gratefulness and our manners and our thoughtfulness by writing a thank you note. And even when I went back east last summer, and we went to the camp, when we went into town after the week at the camp, we stayed in. I stayed in a couple's house that were in the church, and I even wrote a thank you note for that. And I was only there for a couple nights, but it was a blessing to be able to stay with someone and not have to worry about the extra cost of staying in a hotel or then not having a place to stay. And so thank you notes are very, very necessary, I think. And it is something that people are some people are out of practice of sending notes and things. And so it's definitely something that I have put into practice in some, at least in that way. But I know that I probably can be more, there's ways that I could improve in that area. So I want you to write your thank you note, and then I want you to draw, if you have an envelope that your parents have that you can use to do this, that's fine. Otherwise, you can just get a piece of paper and draw an envelope. So just use a ruler, draw a rectangle, okay? And then I want you to practice writing the address. Your address goes in the top left corner, okay, of an envelope. So if we had this as our envelope, your address goes here, okay? Your name, and then your street address, and then the city, state, and zip code. Okay, go there. And that may be hard to read, so just name your street address, and then your city, state, zip code, Green River, Rock Springs, whichever one it is, Wyoming, and then your zip code. And then the address that you're sending it to. So if you're gonna send it to, say it's a friend, just write their address if you've got it. If you're wanting to give it to like your mom and dad or a sibling or something, you can write the address of you can write your address again there, since you're going to be sending it to the same place. But this just gives you an idea of, helps you write that down and see how it all fills out. One thing to note is that if somehow your city and state are, like, if it's really long, because some cities' names are like really long, like Albuquerque or something. If it's taking more space to write than your street address took, I always move the zip code and put it just below. So you can make that adjustment as long as it's on there and it looks neat. The post office, if you actually were to mail this, the post office would know how to get it there. but you want to make sure that you write as neatly as you can, as clearly, that your numbers and letters look like they're supposed to, because if they can't read it, then they send it back. And so, and if they can't read your return address, then they don't know where to send it, and it ends up in an office and may not get there. So you want to make sure that if you're going to actually mail something, that you make that you write what you need to, and that it's clear. Okay, the last thing that we're doing, and why we were reviewing our pronouns, is turn back to page 219. I forgot to say that you were on 278, but 219 is the other page for today. So after you're done with your thank you note and writing your envelope, either on one or drawing your own, you're going to do these two exercises on page 219. And so this is just some review of adjectives, preparing for adverbs, because that will be our next part of speech that we're going to be looking at. I'm sorry. So spotting complements, underline the complement in the following sentences and label as IO, DO, PN, or PA. Okay, so these ones, I know that these can be tricky, but here's a recap of this, okay? If it is an action verb, okay, we look at our verbs as action and linking verbs, right? So if it's an action verb, the complement that comes after that is a direct object. If you have an indirect object, you have to have a direct object. So if you see an indirect object that you think is in there, then look for your direct object as well, okay? They go together. If you have, the direct object doesn't have to have an indirect object, but if there is an indirect object, it has to be with a direct object, okay? Hope that makes sense. And then your predicate adjectives and predicate nominatives, those go with linking verbs. Predicate nominative is if the word is a noun, so that N can help you remember that it's a noun, okay? Person, place, thing, or idea. But if it is, if it is an adjective that is equal to the, well, it's not, in this case, it really just describes the subject, but it follows after the linking verb. And so in that case, if it's an adjective, it's the predicate adjective. So that PA, the A standing for adjective, okay? So let's look, and we'll do a couple of these together just to help you guys find them, okay? The soccer team celebrated their victory after the game, okay? First of all, what word, well, let's identify our subject and verb, okay? So that's first thing that we do. We don't have to underline them all every time, but at least go in your head, okay? Team. Team is my subject, okay? Team what? Team celebrated. Team celebrated what? Okay, that's how you find your complement. Team celebrated who or what is what you ask after your subject and verb, okay? So they celebrated the victory, right? So victory is our complement, is celebrated as an action verb or a linking verb. You can ask yourself, can you celebrate? Yes, so it's an action. So this word victory is a direct object. And because it was a noun, when I said it, team celebrated victory, that made sense. There wasn't anything else in between other than there, but there is describing victory. So this one wouldn't have an indirect object, okay? And so team celebrated victory. Victory would be a direct object. So you would underline victory, write DO above it. Okay, let's do number 2 together. because then that gives the other, that's one more that I can help you with. Okay, that man is my friend's father. Okay, subject and verb, that's first thing, right? That man is my father's friend. Sorry, said that wrong. Man is the subject. Okay, hopefully you got that. What's our verb? Is the verb. Okay, man is. Is action or linking? Is it in one of our lists? Or is it actually, does it do something? It's a linking. It's in one of our lists. Remember, am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, am, is. Okay, it's right there. So is a linking verb. It can be a being or a linking, but in these sentences, we know that it's linking because they're having us find the complements. And so it's going to be either, the verbs are either going to be action or linking. So is a linking verb. So man is what or who? Friend. Okay, go with the last, pretty much go with the last word in what, not the last word, but think when you're thinking through, okay, my father's friend, go with the one that the other two would be describing, or the other one. And so find the noun, the main word. And that's something that I've tried to impress on you guys, that when you're finding your subject, when you're finding one of these complements, you want the main word or the main thought, okay? So man is friend, okay? We already said that is a linking verb. So friend is a noun, and what complement would it be? Predicate nominative, okay? So PN. So underline friend and write PN above it, okay? All right, some of these may be, there's one in the rest of these verses that has a compound complement. So look out for that. And if you're stuck on this, there's you can always go back in your pages, and you can find in your book, and you can find the section that this went over and see if you can figure that out. If not, ask your parents. They can always contact me if you are really struggling with this. Using adjectives, draw a circle around each adjective phrase. Make sure it starts with a preposition and ends with a noun or pronoun. So this is what we were doing before we stopped to do the letter. Well, and before your test. But what you're going to do is you're finding your adjective phrase, your prepositional phrase that is acting like an adjective, right? Because it describes a noun. And you're going to circle it, and you're going to draw an arrow back to the word that it modifies or describes. And then on notebook paper, you're going to diagram just the first 5 of these, okay? So first of all, let's do number 1 together, and I'll help you with, and I'll do the diagramming. Let me erase this. Okay, so number 1, the house on the corner is our house, okay? The house on the corner is our house. So first of all, we have to find our phrase, right? The house on the corner is our house. What word is a preposition that you see in this sentence? Okay, start singing the song, aboard about above grass after it gets along. Okay, it's going to take you a while to get to this one. So the word is on, if you didn't get it. So on. Now, where's the rest of the phrase? Okay, starts with on. And what does a prepositional phrase always end with? A noun or a pronoun, okay? So on the, is the a noun or a pronoun? Nope. On the corner, is corner a noun or a pronoun? Yes, on the corner. There's your prepositional phrase. So circle the whole thing on the corner, okay? All right. What does on the corner describe? The house on the corner is our house. It describes house. Back to the one right before it, not the one after it, okay? So in this case, it is unusual to have a sentence that has the same word at the beginning of the sentence and at the end like that. House is our house. Those aren't your typical sentences like this. So, but occasionally you'll have this. But you just want to make sure that you go. It usually comes right after the noun that it describes. Yeah, so that's when it normally comes. And so we're going to go with that. And there's sometimes exceptions, but we're going to stick with this. So subject and verb, we've got house, is, and is a is an action or linking verb. Linking, okay? So we're going to draw our line like this because that shows that it is a predicate nominative here, and house would go here. House is house. Well, that sounds pretty reasonable, right? Okay, but we need everything else to be filled in to see what this sentence actually says, because yes, a house is a house. Of course, that makes sense, but that's not what this sentence is really saying. So we're going to fill in everything else. So the house, right? We do these in the order that they appear. So the goes here. Well, on the corner describes this house, right? So we're going to put it down here. We do our prepositional phrase. Your preposition goes on this line. Your object goes on this line. Corner, on, corner, the. Okay, on the corner. Pardon me. What word have we not diagrammed yet? The house on the corner is house. Our house. So we're going to put our underneath house, okay? So this should be the way that you diagram the first one. You may pause the video, you may write this down. I did this for you guys so that you knew what you were supposed to do on these, okay? So some of these will have a compound subject or verb or a compound object even. If you've got a compound object, remember, you need to go back to that, go for it. But if there was a compound object, we draw our rocket wherever it's needed. So it can sit right here, okay? So the house on, if there was a street called East and a street called Main, the house on East and Main is our house. That would be one that would be on the corner of East and Main. And so that would be a different way of doing that, but you can make the rocket go where it needs to go, okay? When we have a compound adjective, remember we just draw the dotted line here and connect the two and add an and, right? But other than adjectives, everything else has the rocket like this, okay? And so go ahead and complete these two exercises. Make sure that if you haven't finished your thank you note, if you're waiting till the end, that you go back and finish your thank you note and writing that envelope. And the next time we start adverbs, and so we will talk with you next time.